Alrighty, next up we're gonna kind of give a small tutorial on upholstery cleaning. This is how we handle all of our outdoor upholstery that we store for the winter, but it's also kind of the same process that we'll use for any in-home upholsteries like ottomans, couches, and chairs. Typically we'll stick to poly type cleanings or poly type fiber. We do wools, but really wool isn't too common in the outside materials or outside patio furniture. But really the cleaning's pretty much the same either way. We'll use two different sprays here. Our go-to start-off spray is our fabric shampoo. We'll use it in a spray bottle that's called a foamant. Basically it makes everything turn into suds, bubbles it up, rather than spraying it on in liquid form. If we've got more stronger spots, then we'll use our Avenge Legendary Spotter. This one we will spray on as a liquid, but we won't necessarily cover the whole thing. It's more for small spots, trouble spots like dirts, a lot of spills, that kind of thing. But really these are kind of the main go-to ones for any kind of issues when it comes to upholstery furniture. So first, what I always like to do is kind of do a fiber identification. 9 times out of 10 they're going to have tags on here that kind of show what kind of fibers that we're dealing with. This one is marked saying that it is that it's 80% polyester or 20% polyester and then 80% polyurethane. So this is all synthetic. We're not worried about any browning, any kind of damage to the fibers or that kind of stuff. Another thing when it comes to upholstery cleaning is that the cleaning itself is mostly on the top surface. We're not necessarily cleaning the fabrics inside any of the cushions. It's generally all the soiling on the top layers and then probably down to about a 1/4 inch, if that even. So first what we'll end up doing is we'll use our fabric shampoo and a horsehair brush. We'll spray it onto the brush directly and then agitate it onto our fabrics. We'll do both sides. We'll kind of get it all covered up. This one isn't too soiled. There's a couple of spots where we might use a little bit of Avenge, but this one should clean up pretty nicely. After we scrub it in, then we'll use water extraction. We'll actually use our water cloth for this situation here. What'll end up happening is this will rinse through, it pushes water through the fibers and then draws it all back out. This one will actually end up using a little bit of agent called Enzone, which will neutralize our first pre-sprays. It also acts as a cleaner, but generally it's to bring down the acidity level again. All right, we'll start off, we'll do the pre-spray and the pre-treatment. A lot of the times when it comes to cleaning, you don't necessarily need to froth it up the way the right side is. It's pretty concentrated, so it's more just kind of making sure that we brush it all in all areas. So in this spot right here, we'll end up having to rinse a little bit more to get that out since it's a little bit thicker. Already tell on this side must have been the top side, so there's a little bit more soiling on this area here. And we'll hit that with the Avenge Spotter too. One thing to always kind of keep in mind is when we've got zippers and metals inside of our fabrics, basically we're going to avoid over-wetting that. There are chances where we can cause some rust, and basically we don't want any of that color spread to happen in this area. So while we'll still give this area a rinse, we won't necessarily scrub it too hard, and we'll kind of avoid over-wetting in the areas where metal is. since we kind of treated both sides, the top side here has had a little bit longer to set, kind of rinse through a little bit or penetrate the fiber. So basically what we'll end up doing is we'll start on the top side, the side that we first pre-treated, and we'll give that the rinse with the water claw. We'll kind of spot treat it and kind of see if there's any other small dots. We might have to come back and kind of touch and up a few areas, but basically we're going to start rinsing it out now. Alrighty, after the extraction here, there is still going to be a lot of moisture, especially in kind of the outdoor furniture. It does like to absorb some of the water, so they are going to appear a lot darker right now. What makes it a little bit harder to tell if there is still soiling inside. So what I always like to do is basically give it a white cotton rag test. We'll kind of put it on what I assume would be the dirtiest or the wettest area. See if we can draw any soiling back into the towel a little bit here. There's a little bit here, so I'm going to kind of give it a little bit more of a rinse. Kind of using the view window, no more ceilings really lifting up, so all we're really seeing now is kind of dampness in the cushion. So basically what we like to do now is if we add a few more, we would kind of set them up and TP them up and set some fans on them, just kind of encourage a faster dry time. But in this case, basically we'll just prop this guy up and let him dry overnight. If we do have any spots where maybe this area right here might wick up a little bit, or maybe this corner, we'll just basically have to come back, and rather than giving it a full treatment, we'll just rinse these areas once more on that last step. Really, it should be a pretty quick clean. These ones unfortunately don't shine up or brighten up that well, but we can always promise now that basically everything has been flushed through, things are a lot cleaner, and all the soiling now has been removed from the tops of the fibers.